broadcasting?
Yes, we are broadcasting.
All right. Oh, here we go. Hey, Dr. Wong's on. Hey, Doc. Hey, guys. I'm not reading the messages today. I'm going to make healthy French toast. So we got the rice and spammer here. You know, the Periscope. You know, the kings of Periscope. So
Queens.
Joy, can you make sure they can see me okay in
I
there?
sure can. I sure can.
Thank you.
Yes.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
all
not
right.
really. The toast is in the way.
The what?
The toast is in the way.
It's in the way. That's fine.
This is good. Okay, so here's the bread I'm using. It's flourless. The key is it's a low glycemic load. You know, that's the key. So about 1 egg per person. We have 2, 4, 6 people here, so there's about 6 to 8 eggs. I use coconut water to break up the viscosity of the egg so they absorb into the bread better because this is really dense bread. Some real vanilla. You know, I measured really exact, as you can see. And I'll put some cinnamon as well. There's been some research that cinnamon actually helps balance out sugar. But don't use this as as your precursor. Change your lifestyle. It's important. So again, I'm very accurate with my measuring.
Sorry, guys. This is. What is this tripod?
Hey, that's not my area of expertise, you know. You can see I'm married to a Japanese, so I use chopsticks a lot.
Eggs,
cinnamon, coconut water. Okay.
Yes, you guys. Yum, 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 yum. Who is excited?
So you make it the
up.
same way. Hold this bread. So again, you don't want to take it right in the eggs and throw it in the pan because all you're going to get is bread toast. You want it to soak in, and the reason why you use coconut water, again, make the egg mixture less viscous. So this bread is really dense. I mean, if you pick this up, it's not light. See? So Mike works out with this loaf of bread. See?
So wants to know, is bacon grease healthy to use to fry it?
Absolutely not. And when I grew up, the Folgers coffee can was in the middle of my stove. I'm surprised I'm still standing here.
The bread is heavy.
It's the worst way to cook. So get rid of that. It's old school. Just get rid of it. It's oxidized, and also canola oil is not good to cook with. It's a omega-3. You should be using it for your chain on your bike. That's about it. Any other questions we're getting from these guys? And then,
can you get this light to go on?
I cannot.
Oh, okay.
If it's not on, it's probably we just need to replace it.
Okay. Coconut oil rocks, says Natalia.
Yeah, it rocks. Let me see if I can get you guys some more light.
No, we want less light actually, because it's
It's backlighting.
Oh, okay.
way better, way
Way
better,
better?
way better. Thank you, Al. Al's like tap 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 if you want to see some balls.
All right. So, again, you want it to be heavy.
How do you feel about olive oil?
It's great. Just don't heat it.
Yes, do not cook with olive oil, you guys.
Must be one of my tribe on there.
Love coconut oil and olive oil.
Inside the pan?
Coconut oil. That's it. Yeah. And we'll probably go through that jar in a week.
Wow. Yeah.
And we'll go through this one in about 3 weeks.
I love coconut.
Yeah. And since I've been eating this way, for those of you that don't know, I have a Lean Body 360 program. In 10 weeks with another product, ProArginine 9 Plus, I've dropped almost 6% body fat. So I'm hovering around 11% right now. My goal is 9, a solid 9.
He's on his way there. He's well on his way there.
And I eat about 3.5 pounds of beef a week and about 15 eggs a week. So again, we have a lot of people here, so I'll just keep putting these in.
Okay, somebody wants to know why you do not cook with olive oil.
Well, polyunsaturated oils don't appear to do well under heat. And chemically, it's called a denaturing process. So when you heat something, you denature it. Eggs actually improve being denatured. But unfortunately, most polyunsaturated oils, walnut, avocado, they don't do well under heat applications. They actually turn carcinogenic. So there's 3 that I'm aware of that appear to handle the heat process well. There's a lot of research on them: coconut, palm, and grapeseed. But the reason coconut is so beneficial, it contains about 75% of what's called a medium chain triglyceride and 2 fats, linoleic and capryl. 2 acids, linoleic and capryl, that appear to be the mitochondria. What would you call them? The jump starters to the mitochondria, and they're only found in higher amounts in breast milk. So coconut oil is phenomenal. I used to use straight MCT oil, medium chain triglyceride oil, but coconut oil appears, per the research, far more advantageous. It's also antiviral and antibacterial, which is pretty impressive.
What oil is best for sauteing onions?
Coconut.
Coconut oil, Walter.
Yeah. Again, if you're going to have it cold, olive is fine, walnut is fine, avocado is fine. But once you begin to heat it, problems begin to to heat up.
Ha.
Unfortunately, I don't say these things happily. I wish we could just cook with any oil, but it doesn't work that way.
Vince says, hi, Dr. K.
Hey, Vince.
You guys, if you're finding this really, really helpful and educational, make sure you share this out with your followers by swiping, okay?
Hey, guys.
Wow. All you have to do is swipe to the right, share with your friends who need to learn how to eat healthier.
So again, there's a myth that you have to do these strict diets and no bread. It doesn't really matter the bread. It matters what the ingredients are on the bread. And it matters the glycemic load. That's the key. You want to eat foods that don't have what's called medically an insulin expression. You want to reduce the insulin expression, and that appears to be a problem in all kind of disease processes. Obesity, diabetes, just chronic. So just a little bit of knowledge will help you guys.
This Ezekiel bread, is this the best? Is there other alternate bread?
You know, I'm sure there's better ones out there. There's Mana bread. It's like $9-10 a loaf. But this one you can get almost anywhere. I think you can buy it on Amazon. So for those of you on my scope and watching Rice and Spam, you know, you may say, oh, I know better bread than Dr. George is using or whatever. The things that I use you can get everywhere. So I'm thinking about the average person. What can they use on a daily basis? Not doing I was just talking about neem and these different types of sweeteners and things. You have to go to parts unknown to find those types of things.
Yes, that's right. You can pop your popcorn in olive oil.
Yeah, coconut's not bad. After a while, you just get used to it. But the benefits, I mean, my blood work is pristine. My triglycerides are pristine. My cholesterol is in the, I think, 96 or 105 last time I checked. I mean, my numbers look good. And I probably consume 20 eggs a week. So that's kind of a myth.
And there you go. This is the one side that's been browned and tastes so yummy too.
Neem is local to India and Pakistan.
That's right. It's in India. That's right.
Everyone's so hungry now.
So when you recommend that to folks, if they're in India, that's great. But what are they going to do here? So I try to be reasonable. I try to look at the real world conditions and try to give them people, a way to go that's not so extreme.
Sprouted bread. Actually, can you give a good recommendation of why they want to use Ezekiel bread and why sprouted bread?
When you sprout the bread, it does a few things. It lowers the glycemic load and makes the gluten or the protein in the product much higher quality. So gluten is, in a lot of cases, besides the point. The person already has digestive problems initially, and protein-based grains set them off. But if they would clean up their digestive system, support it, and there's a number of ways to do that, and eat foods that have a higher gluten quality, you'd see things turn around.
How do you feel about like organic bread or organic wheat bread or anything like that?
It has to be sprouted.
Has to be
organic
sprouted.
again is besides the point.
Gotcha.
That's a media misnomer.
There you go.
It's kind of like organic bakery flour. It's still processed, in most cases brominated flour, which contains alloxin. It's irrelevant if it's organic or not.
Right.
You guys find this helpful?
Yes,
Hey, guys.
I'm great. I'm cleaning mine now. What bead is that? What bread is that? It's Ezekiel bread.
Yeah, get some screenshots. Let me hold it up for my tribe.
Right there.
So again, this Food for Life, they're here in California. They've been around for about 30 years, and they just make flourless products. That's all they do. They make tortillas and English muffins, and it's just beneficial.
George, if you're looking to lower your body fat,
Right.
is this Ezekiel bread, is it kind of like the equivalent of like brown rice to white rice? It's better, but it's not great. Or is it still good for you?
It's really good, and the key is to have a low glycemic load. Let me grab a plate. That's the real.
So how often would you say you could have that French toast?
Well, this I probably make twice a week.
Oh, okay.
So why do people not have to worry about the carbs here?
Well, you have to be concerned about it. It depends on your circumstance. But remember, it's the quality of carbs, not the actual carbs themselves. So that's what you want to be more concerned about. That's why on my Lean Body 360 program, I don't recommend calorie counting. Number one, you can't do it consistently because it's socially disruptive. Number two, if you eat higher dense, these are nutritionally dense. You guys could eat white bread, traditional French toast, half a dozen pieces and still be hungry. You eat one and a half pieces of this, even a big guy like Tom, who's 230 now?
230, yeah.
He'll eat 2 pieces of this and he'll be full.
Wow.
So you're increasing the nutritional density and you're lowering the calories naturally without any brain activity.
So somebody's asking how many carbs are in a piece of this type of French toast?
Let me see.
Or is it irrelevant, like you just said?
Yeah, it's irrelevant, but there's 15 grams, which is pretty low. And the key is they're low load. In other words, they have a low insulin expression. And there's eggs, coconut water, and a little bit of vanilla. So now, if you really wanted to get strict with your carbohydrates, you can use stevia mixed with some raw fruit. There's almost no calories in there. We'll probably use maple syrup today, which still has a low insulin response and has a relatively long disbursement of its sugars. So it's pretty good stuff.
Okay, we have another question about, so if you start to eat better quality gluten, will you be able to start eating gluten? Because a lot of people are gluten intolerant.
Well, again, in my opinion, I think gluten intolerance is besides the point. It's kind of like by the time you were a type 2 diabetic or had metabolic syndrome, you were unhealthy first. You lost your health dynamics first, and then you became fibromyalgic or a type 2 diabetic, a pre-diabetic. So gluten is the same way. By the time you've become
gluten
intolerant, your digestive tract is already compromised. Maybe you have chronic yeast infections, you have digestive disorders, you're constipated a lot. So, you really have to clean yourself up and just be consistent and slowly add things gradually. But for me, if I eat seitan, which is a low-quality protein, that's the first time in 20 years of my practice that I had to leave the office for the day because I got so sick. So does that mean I have a weak digestive tract? I think my digestive tract was just sensitive to that poor quality product. And my body said, don't do that. Plus, I just ate it for lunch with no vegetables, and it felt like I just ate it like a lead ball. So
a lot of people are coming in. Jason Stolkin says, you had me at French toast. Is this French toast high in cholesterol?
Well, it does have eggs, but understand that if you don't take enough cholesterol, and your liver will manufacture it, because that's what it combines with hormones and other chemicals to make them active. So you want to worry about cholesterol and things like potato chips, processed foods. That's the stuff you want to refrain from. Eggs have gotten totally a bad rap.
Oh, okay.
And I eat probably about 20 a week.
Eggs are good cholesterol, though, no?
Yeah, and what's interesting is people say, what about whites? The enzymes are in the yolk. So remember, the chick part is the white. The yolk is the feed sac.
Everyone gets that confused because they think chickens are yellow.
That's right.
Right?
So the egg is the white, which is interesting. And what's really interesting is the first 12 weeks of the fetus looks almost identical to the chick embryo.
Oh, wow.
Oh, right, because even like a lot of animals have the same type of pattern.
But the chicken is almost identical.
Interesting.
So
somebody's asking about the ATP mitochondria. A person has a mitochondrial disease. Is there a connection between the quality of foods that can contribute to those types of
That's an excellent question. In my humble opinion, everything has a connection to our lifestyle. I would say pure genetic disorders are less than 0.3% or less in some cases, and foods can still influence those. So, for example, if we take a purely genetic type 1 diabetic, and we just throw all kind of foods at them, they're going to struggle and their insulin's going to go all over the place and they're going to have other complications. But if they eat a low glycemic load, low quality food, higher quality nutritionally dense foods, though their body may not produce any more insulin, but the insulin they have to take in will be lessened and the stress on their hormones will be lessened because now they're not eating such low quality products. So whether you're a type 1 or a pre-diabetic, you still can benefit. The level of benefit will certainly vary on your diagnosis, but remember, you guys, you're not your diagnosis. You're still a human being. Your body wants to be well. We all have our hurdles. If you go to my website, GeorgeKosmides.com, I almost lost my life at 19. So don't tell me you can't come back.
Okay, we have a question from Trish and Lola. They both want to know if they can use the Ezekiel cinnamon raisin bread instead of this regular bread.
You can. It's a little bit higher in carbohydrates because of the raisins. And if you're a diabetic, I don't recommend dried fruit at all.
Dried fruit?
Dried fruit, because it has a high glycemic load, and its initial impact is high.
GeorgeKosmides.com.
Thank you. See that? Popping it in.
So just, it's dense, so let it thick. The key is when you do things like this is crucial because it thins the egg mixture.
What's crucial? The coconut
water.
Show them the coconut water. For those of you that just jumped on, we are making healthy French toast with Dr. George.
You want to know an interesting medical fact about coconut water? In World War II, real coconuts off the trees were used as emergency IVs.
Oh,
Did you hear that, you guys?
That's interesting.
They would use coconut water for emergency.
blood.
They could plug right into the coconut, right into the cubital fossa of the GI or whoever was injured, because the coconut water is almost isotonically identical to blood plasma.
Wow.
And I think it was Loyola Marymount or Pepperdine has research. If you go to PubMed.com, you type in coconut water for IVs, you'll see a few research papers on it that they can actually confirm it's true.
You want them going to GeorgeCosmides.com?
His name is the title of the scope.
Yeah, well, they can go to my website, and my program is Lean Body 360.
Which website do you want them to go
You
to?
can go to GeorgeCosmides.com.
Okay.
You can read about my story, and chiropractic saved my life, and this eating has propelled me. I lost my father at 56 and my two uncles at 55 and 31. Much like your dad lost his life the same way. They were all controlled by meds for the last 10 years, or my father the last 10 years of his life. And I'm not here to knock medication. I'm just saying controlling your numbers doesn't associate with being healthy. There's a disconnect there. And my father thought since his numbers were normal in his lab work, everything was fine. Passed his treadmill stress test on the 9th. He was dead on the 15th.
Okay, his name is in the title of the scope.
Hey, George, we have people that are just jumping on. They want a quick recap of what exactly you're putting into these French toast.
Okay, so...
And how you're making them.
Okay.
If you look at the title of the scope, his name is spelled there.
So here's the Ezekiel bread that I use, and I'm certain there's, for you health hippies out there like me, there's probably better quality breads out there, but this one everyone can get. That's how I practice. That's what my program's all about. Food that the common person can get, not some real fanatical stuff. And then just regular cinnamon. There's some research that supports cinnamon and actually helping to move sugars into the cell. Just basic vanilla. Eggs.
How many eggs?
I think I put in about 10, but there's 2, 4, 6 of us.
Yes.
And then coconut water to thin the mixture so it absorbs into the bread better.
Got it.
And the key is to let the bread sit till it almost falls apart.
How long do you usually let it sit for? How long was that? Like 3 minutes?
Like 4 or 5 minutes probably. Now without the coconut water, the time would double. And you would open up the French toast and it would be like bread inside versus not.
Got it.
These are really dense.
And then you are using this coconut oil to fry it with, correct?
Correct. And you see I used a big dollop in there and it's already gone, so it absorbed into the food. And again, I measure things very strictly, as you can tell.
He was joking.
So remember, this coconut actually forces your body to burn fat for fuel.
Did you hear that, you guys? It forces your body to burn.
Is that like avocado?
Fat for fuel.
Avocado has medium chain triglycerides at about 23%, between 20 and 25%. Coconut is about 70 to 75%, and they're saying that medium chain fat, the body will reach for an MCT, a medium chain fat, oxygen, and water in order to avoid the Krebs cycle of burning glucose and burning fat for fuel.
Interesting.
You can take as much coconut oil as you want.
Well, it's still a fat, and it still has calories, about 35 calories per teaspoon, but what that fat does inside the body is pretty phenomenal, pretty fantastic from a purely medical point of view. And now they're actually giving it to Alzheimer's patients and patients with neurological problems, and they're seeing their symptoms reduce. And we think it's because it's actually helping to repair the myelin sheath, the nerves, the fat on the nerves is getting damaged. That's what we're seeing. Right now we're just seeing symptomatic improvements. They haven't confirmed yet, but I think that's what's happening. That's why they're getting better.
They want to know, can you explain again really quickly why do you use this type of bread rather than wheat bread?
Well, sprouting appears to improve the quality of the protein in the bread, also the digestibility. So in other words, they'll get their wheat kernel and they'll sprout it. They'll actually grow it, then they'll grind it. So that's why they can call it flourless.
Got it.
And wheat bread, unsprouted, appears through peer-reviewed research to affect the estrogen it's in men, so it appears to support gynecomastia, fluid around the breast and also around the waist. And there's even some research that hints or infers that actually begins to manipulate female hormones.
Interesting.
So it's just, even if it's inferred with me, if I have two choices and this one infers some issues and this one doesn't, it's just reasonable to go to the one that doesn't.
Right, of course.
Right, so you guys got that? Use sprouted bread, not white bread. You guys want to eliminate Wonder bread from your diet.
Yeah, the wonder is why it's still bread. And when I was a kid, my dad would send me to go get bread, and he would say, whichever one is softest, that's the one you get. So here's a brief history of white flour. White flour turns white because of a gassing process, and part of that gassing process, the byproduct is a chemical called alloxan, A-L-L-O-X-E-N. You can look it up online. Alloxan was developed in, I believe, the early 1900s to induce type 2 diabetes in laboratory animals.
Interesting.
And that's one of the byproducts in white flour products, white bread and processed, cookie bread and baker's, flour, things of that nature. So you're taking something directly that not only causes an insulin spike, a load, but also directly destroys the beta cells in the pancreas. So is that a diabetic precursor? Certainly sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to avoid things like that. And again, I don't say these things happily. I wish we didn't have to think about any of this, and we could just go surf and go swim and hang out, but we have to be a little more conscious of that.
With the question you have about a person asking, are there any gluten-free specific recipes you would recommend? He did talk about gluten aspects of it, but what would you say, Dr. George?
Gluten-free, I would just say stay away from low quality. So flours, some of you may not have heard things like kamut, spelt, would be two high-quality gluten products. And one product that has no gluten at all is buckwheat. Buckwheat is not a wheat at all. It's actually a fruit seed, more closely in the rhubarb family.
Oh, interesting.
So it's super high in protein, super low glycemic load. They have something called buckwheat groats that you should eat instead of oatmeal. If buckwheat groats and oatmeal were cars, oatmeal would be a Volkswagen and buckwheat would be a 911 Porsche.
Wow. Give me that Porsche.
Yeah.
Where can we get that?
You can get it you can get it online. You can get it in the bulk section at Whole Foods. I think you can now buy it at Trader Joe's.
I couldn't find it at Trader.
You couldn't find. So what you do is you just go there. You folks can just ask your local market, "Hey, do you guys have buckwheat?" And the guy will probably look at you strange. And if you even say buckwheat groats, he'll even look at you stranger. But that's okay. You have to put this in their mind. And eventually, I've got people in my tribe that now their local store is carrying it for them. And if not, go to Amazon.com. If you go to my website, I've got a few products. I don't have buckwheat groats, but I have some products that I recommend. But just go to Amazon. You can find a lot of stuff there.
$3.69 at Whole Foods.
Yeah, $3.69. This is probably the best tasting coconut water, and I've tried several. If you don't have a Whole Foods, I'm sorry. It's about $3.60 for a, what is this, a quart? 33, well, a little over a quart.
A liter.
What about the maple syrup? Should they pay attention to what they buy?
Yeah, make sure you get, if you get maple syrup, make sure you get the real deal. No agave. Unfortunately, agave's on my list of do not use products, even though you'll see some nutritionists tout them. They're not reading the research, or at least the research that I've read. So it actually goes to a different pathway in the liver, and your liver actually looks at like high fructose corn syrup, which we know is bad.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
People need to know about that.
So even though the raw agave, I'm sorry, and I sat on the fence for probably a year until I got convinced. So three sweeteners that I use: coconut sugar, date sugar, maple syrup, and stevia. I use some xylitol when my wife will make some raw chocolate things I'll give you guys today. She'll use xylitol, maple syrup, and stevia, and that's pretty much it. All of them have a relatively low glycemic load, which is key. And whether you're obese, have health problems, you want to be a bodybuilder, you want to think about low glycemic load, guys. All processed foods, I know there's rare exceptions, have a super high glycemic load. And that's part of the reason why it triggers us to eat more. Because it spikes our blood sugar, and our blood sugar drops, or we're hungry again. It starts that vicious cycle, and you start putting on the pounds.
Asif had to leave.
Yeah, he's my hero.
Everyone's saying, bye, Asif, bye, Asif.
Wow, look at this. This huge stack of French toast, guys. Look at it. And it's flourless.
It looks like you're cheating like crazy.
Yeah.
The way
Right.
it looks.
So that's why when people ask me, do you have a cheat day? To me, this is cheating.
Yeah.
But it's cheating in a positive way.
Right.
Yum is right. Okay, you guys, so make sure that you share this out if you
Hey, guys.
find this really, really informative. Because we want to have all our friends eat well so they last longer and can hang out with us more.
Absolutely. If you guys find this information incredibly useful, I would definitely ask you guys to do the same. Share this out, Facebook, Twitter, or copy the URL and send it to somebody you know that would benefit from this. The replay or the live broadcast, guys.
And tap, 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 tap with Dr. George, you guys. He didn't have to do this for us, but he's doing this, and he's doing this for free.
And just keep in mind that if you're not going to do it for yourself, if you have kids, you have an obligation to your family.
Exactly.
If you're sick or have health problems, then that's not fair to your family. And if you're just kind of cavalier about it, it's unfortunate for your family. So use any motivation you can to check yourself when you start getting off track.
Right, exactly.
His website is GeorgeCosmides.com.
Exactly. My phone website is the name of the scope right here on Rice and Spam, George Kosmides now. It's GeorgeCosmides.com. His name is spelled in the title.
They can find me on Tribe Cosmo, hashtag Tribe Cosmo.
And you can find it on the Tribe Cosmo hashtag.
Okay, you guys, I'm going to close this down.
Yes,
Thank you,
likewise.
Dr. George.
No, you're so welcome, guys. Thanks for coming today. Ready to eat. Thanks, viewers. Thank you so much. I'll be on tonight at 8 o'clock to answer any questions. And thank you, guys, Rice and Spam and Big Mike and the guys.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for... Thanks for jumping learning how to make this flour with French toast for yourself.
Okay, you guys,
Get
so
on there.
I want to
Hey, guys.
let you know that you can swipe to the right. You can see Dr. George's handle on here, and you can follow him. He does scopes every single night, and he teaches one different topic every single day. Actually, I think he does it twice a day. So if you want to get some free, awesome information, make sure you swipe to the right and see his name, Dr. Kosmides, here on Periscope. Okay? It's awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. Hey, Christiana, how are you? Oh my God, you finally caught me live, and I'm actually heading out because I'm about to eat some good French toast. So I'll be back in a few. Thank you, Walter, for inviting your friends. I will see you later.